Hi.
Peter.
So, Lauren,
Yes.
do tell us about your background. Like, tell us everything.
Well, seeing how we're in snowy Fargo and we're in the wonderful lobby, I feel
It's
inspired
currently
to tell
minus
you.
10 degrees here, just so we throw that little bit of information
I
in.
feel inspired to tell you my life story.
Okay.
It began, I grew up in Arizona and Oregon, and I went to Portland State University for like 3 years because I just, I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I still not entirely sure. Went to Portland State University for 3 years and dabbled with psychology and did a little vocal jazz choir at the tail end, which kind of woke up this idea of like, maybe I should be going to music school. So I transferred to Berklee College of Music as an incoming junior and just kind of ran through the program in like a year and a half, which is pretty quick, but I was really inspired. And so Berklee College of Music was kind of the birthplace of a lot of my musical growth in terms of singing and songwriting and a little bit of arranging, and it was just a great place to be a young person.
You found your voice.
I kind of did. When I showed up at the school, I was like, oh my God, I'm home, and I think that's kind of a narrative that comes up a lot for us when either we're teaching our students is just like, where do you feel most at home and at peace with when you're thinking about your life's work.
Yeah.
How about you? Where did you go to school?
I have no idea. I like that, and I like your vocal jazz and psychology thing. Those two kind of go hand in hand, I think.
So
vocal jazz and psychology. Do you want to ask me again?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
This burning question
You've never,
that I've wanted to ask you.
You don't know anything about me.
What is your musical background, Mr. Eldridge?
Well, Lauren. I was a piano guy, totally a piano guy. Singing was terrifying and too vulnerable and all that stuff. So I played piano and loved that. And then I played classical piano and got into college as a classical piano major. And once I kind of got into Ithaca College in upstate New York, where many of New York Voices went to school and met, the singing thing was just became part of my everyday existence, singing in the choir and the madrigals and vocal jazz group and all that.
You discovered it slowly as well.
And the fear, slowly went away. But and then. But I always loved playing. I think even to this day, I think if I had to choose between one or the other, I might still pick piano because it just feels so easy and a part of me. I don't know. It's weird.
It connects you.
It does.
Your piano playing is one and the same with your singing. It's kind of all directly related. So if you took away piano playing, one thing would perhaps suffer, and vice versa. It's just kind of all the same thing. I think.
It's all one at this point. Yeah.
Fortunate that you were in Ithaca because you met a bunch of other people.
And there I met Kim and later Darman and Caprice, and that's how the Crazy New York Voices connection began. Dave Riley put us together. He was the director of the vocal jazz group there, and may he rest in peace. So great man, and gave us the name New York Voices, and we hit the road pretty quickly and kind of went from there. So that's kind of the beginnings of things, and had been started writing songs during that time too.
Writing has always been a passion for you.
It really has for both of us.
And that's kind of how we met, right?
We met as songwriters, years later, back in the 90s. And we met as songwriters through mutual musician friends, and then I casually said, "Hey, do you want to audition for this band I sing with?"
What's the band's name?
And I said, "Newark Faces," and you were just like,
"Sign me up."
And she came in and kind of blew it out of the water, and we all went, "What?" And so the rest is history.
That was 1992.
That was 1992, the good old days. In terms of arranging and arrangers in New York Voices, certainly the bulk of the repertoire was put together by Darman Meter. He's our chief cook and bottle washer, as the expression goes.
Yes.
And
there's always one, but there's a lot of backup.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've all certainly had our hand in contributing arrangements, ideas. There's always a process in the group where somebody brings in something, and there's the arranging, and then there's the rearranging to kind of, we try out different sections to make sure things feel good, and then we kind of go from there. So a lot of times there's that initial excitement about doing something new, and then comes the process of kind of, I don't know, dissecting a little bit and maybe finding things that could maybe work better at times here and there. But
well, personalizing all of the arrangements, as we often say, we sort of derange them or give our own point of view, as you were mentioning, and that is kind of what helps the group personally invest itself even more and really continue to figure out how the character of the four of us together, how that can sound. And so you have to look for ways sometimes beyond one person's vision of arranging notes, because it's never just about notes, right? It's about the way that they're expressed and the way that our voices combine. And so that's always been a big part of the rehearsal process, is hearing the music, feeling the music, and trying to get as close as we can to things that are almost intangible or indescribable, because it's what the four of us do together. And so there's that process with Darman's work, and oftentimes Peter's brought quite a bit of work as well. And I've either assisted on arranging ideas or bring in my own original music, and so I have a big part of that aspect of it too. And so I think there's many colors to the group as a result of that. So if it was just Darman Meter's vision of New York Voices, imagine what that would sound like. It's really awesome, but it's really also awesome that all of us really play a part in creating what is now a very big book of music with lots of different colors.
I think one of the most, it seems like one of the most loved New York Voices albums is the one we did in tribute to Paul Simon a number of years ago, and that was the most group oriented. That was the one where everybody kind of had their hand in the pot and throwing in a lot of ideas, either with grooves or meters or arrangements, reharmonization. That was just really fun. It was at the same time, because it was a lot of cooks in the kitchen. It took a little longer to kind of put all that stuff together. But I think that's what makes that album particularly special.
I think it's also nice in a way, now that I think back too, that was music kind of our time, and so we were all a lot more personally invested and had our own points of view and knowledge that's different than perhaps arranging a Great American Standard from an era that we were not alive in. So there was also an aspect of we all really did have a point of view on the music, and they were all really valuable. They weren't. You couldn't say that one person had maybe a little bit more expertise than the other. This was kind of music of our generation. So Paul Simon was an interesting project.
We also, I always really commend, because we're all singers, just to get a little more technical, I think the voice leading element is pretty cool. I think you can tell that the arrangements are done by a singer, because the individual parts feel very natural.
Totally. And as a result of that, we really treat all of our parts as melodies, and that too is why things have that tissue and that energy. Yeah, it's really cool. So we have a bunch of camps that we have been involved with for many, many years, namely ours. We've launched 2 vocal jazz camps, primarily the one here in the United States, which is kind of it started at a Bowling Green State University, moved to Ithaca College, and is now housed at Western Michigan University.
Yay!
Are we 12 years old at this point?
I believe so.
Yeah. So we started this as born out of the whole idea that we'd been we'd been going to Europe and had been involved in some European camps at the very early part of our career, and we started to kind of develop our own philosophy and our own way in which we felt about teaching this art form, and the way the four of us offer very unique things and bring different ideas to the table. And so Kim Nazarian actually collaborated with Chris Bazzelli, and they debuted the first camp at Bowling Green, and it's been going strong ever since. It's an amazing camp. It happens usually at the end of July and the beginning of August, and then one summer, a group from Slovenia showed up, and
Laksarsana.
and Mladen Delin said, after attending our camp, gee, we need to do this in Europe. And so we brought it to Slovenia and did it there for a couple of years. And now it's moved to Machtoberdorf, Germany, in a beautiful castle. And
last week of August. Yeah.
The Bayerische Music Academy, and that's now going on its second year. So we've been doing our camp for over 12 years personally, and then we also have a festival.
We have a festival outside of Chicago, St. Charles High School, that we've done. That's also in its 11th or 12th year. So
same.
So we've always, the educational component has always been really high with this group. I think it's actually what's kind of kept us going all these years. So it's always been a strong element behind what we do, and we love it. We love getting to pass on information and hopefully inspire people. So yeah,
and there's just a demand for it. I mean, it's amazing to us that there are so many high schools and colleges that have amazing programs, and so they either come to our festival, or we often go to these other festivals that go on all across the United States. And there's just this amazing, I think, sort of re-energized community of vocal jazz out there now, and different ensembles that are having a new life. And I think the language and the script of vocal jazz is also being redefined and recreated by this new generation, and that also is very exciting to be a part of, and watching it blossom.
In terms of outside activities in the group, I think we all just do such a wide variety of
What
things.
do you mean, Peter? How many things do you do? Can you even count them on 2 hands and 2 feet?
Come on now. No, we all sing in outside situations. We record, we teach, we have different groups that we're a part of. It keeps life interesting and never dull. And but we've all recorded individual projects. I've done many of them. Lauren has done many of them.
Yep.
We write together outside of the group. Lauren and I are also part of a group called Moss that occasionally meets and does some interesting concerts and recordings and stuff. We're hoping to do a little bit more, dabble in that again sometime soon.
Yep. And you're full-time faculty at Berkeley, right?
I am. And,
yep.
And you're at NYU.
I'm adjunct at NYU, and we all also, I'm also doing more production work too, producing and curating a vocal night in New York City with Janice Siegel.
Oh, it's so amazing. It's amazing.
And it's cool because, you're continuing to listen yourself, right? And trying to also create a really healthy community for singers to come and strut their stuff and create a safe space.
Yeah, Vocal Mania in New York once a month.
Yeah, once a month.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And everybody, I think the idea of what all of us do is part of it's out of necessity, that you need to work, and not everything pays a full salary, so you're kind of had to be creative in how you put together a life's career. But it also keeps you fresh. It keeps your music relevant, and yourself sort of held to a standard that you expect of yourself. And if you're active enough where you're listening and looking at other colleagues, you realize you always have to keep your game strong.
And with students, you have to.
And with your students,
you have to stay on top of things.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're gonna. Everybody's so smart and so worldly and so educated now that they're gonna race right past you. So you got to be on your game. Yeah.
Yeah. So we are represented by Adam Chernick over at ARC Artists.
For the domestic
for our
stuff.
domestic work.
Yeah, and Marilyn Rosen, we've worked with her for many years for the more symphonic gigs and concerts.
Yep, and Catherine Meyer at Just Jazz International. And between all three of them, we call them up every day and go, "You got some more work for us?" Yeah, we go.
Hey, what's going on? Yeah, but
Get busy.
They're all really, really cool,
Yeah.
hardworking people, and we've been with Catherine and Just Jazz. Oh my gosh, 25 years,
Yeah.
20. You know, so yeah, we've been working
And
with these
Marilyn
people for a
as
while.
long as well.
Yeah,
I mean, we
probably.
really, I think part of this industry is like you build relationships, and these people really believe in us, and we're grateful for those relationships. They're like family.
Absolutely.
Well, this is my favorite part. Advice to
Advice to the youngins.
the
Advice to
aspiring artist.
yeah.
My goodness.
I mean, I think you have to.
Where do we begin?
I know it's a loaded question, but you have to dig down and discover, try to look for what's special about you, what's different about you, what do you offer that is different from somebody else, whether it's in your voice or in your playing or in your writing, or what can you bring that moves music forward as opposed to necessarily copying the styles of somebody else. I think, and people do well doing that too, but I think it's people just yearn for something different and something special.
Yeah, and your work ethic is really the thing that is going to continue your career down the path, because there's always, of course, the young blush of, youth and your ideas, and you feel so passionate about it, but you have to actually learn how to maintain that, and also ask yourself to continue to work at that ethic, even in the slumps, even in the times when it feels like there isn't a lot of things coming this way for you. You have to create your opportunities, and we often talk to our students about when it seems as if there isn't anything happening, perhaps it's time to reflect back and ask, well, what can I be doing? What kind of energy can I generate? Should I call up my colleagues and say, let's start a Monday night, bring all your music and let's hang out and bounce around some ideas. And many things are born out of that kind of ingenuity, and it doesn't ever change. We actually, Moss was born out of that same idea when all of us were solo artists, but we were hungry for some new community and some things that pushed us in different ways.
Step outside of comfort zones. And
so
stuff.
I think always pushing and always being ahead of your dreams, so that you actually can maybe make some of them happen.
Well, thanks for listening. Thank you, Alton, for inviting us to the party here, and we really appreciate it, and hope we offered some information for people to sink their teeth into.
Yeah, and we really, really love giving back. I mean, all of us really love working with young people and also just our colleagues, and we love sharing information, and so we're grateful for this opportunity to talk to you. And
so we'd now like to give you our private cell phone numbers,
yes,
so you can just call us.
I'm available for weddings and bar mitzvahs. So
anyway, thanks so much.
we do appreciate it. Thank you.